I have been using AI chats every day to research things for a really long period of time now, and lately I realized something. I realized that I wasn't able to do things on my own and not use AI anymore. Whenever I tried to avoid using AI and just think about something myself, or read something myself, or even search on Google myself, I would feel an immense pain. And I would get the thoughts of doing things on my own being much slower and inefficient than using AI. I realized that it wasn't really true. These thoughts were actually coming from a state of mind that I got into. And that state of mind is, I think, a form of AI addiction or form of an addiction that is towards using AI chats. So the way AI tools, AI chats work is that you begin with thinking something, you get the thought of researching something, and you ask a question to the AI with a message. It then streams you a response in a few seconds. You read that response, you evaluate the things in that response, and you write another message back to the AI. And this gets you into a loop of using the AI back and forth. It's like messaging back and forth. And this is called a feedback loop. And what a feedback loop does to our brains is that it trains us to keep seeking the action that keeps us in that feedback loop. So when you send a message and get a response back from an AI, there happens this association of taking an action and getting a reward for it. So taking the action is sending the message, and getting the reward is getting a response back from the AI. And this happening especially in a very short period of time, like you send a message in, maybe type it in like in 10 seconds, and it streams you a response in 3 to 4 seconds. This is a very high pleasure, high reward sense feeling action that gives you the results very quickly compared to things like maybe if you're programming yourself, writing a function yourself might take a few minutes. If you are someone that is trying to write a blog post, maybe that can take you hours. If you're someone that is researching some topic, reaching to good information on the internet and understanding can also take a few hours, even days. And what AI does with this training of you in staying in that loop is that it makes you keep using it more and more each time. Because this training works on us, these AI companies have this free tier of allowing us to use the AI chat for a certain time, for a certain token limit. And then after they put a hard wall that we can only pass with paying them some subscription money, like $20. And that's how they make money. That's how they sell to people, with getting them used to using these tools and then getting payment back when we feel the withdrawal of using them. So what I did to break this addiction state was to I first tried to not use it for some things, but I would always feel that pain of struggling to do things on my own, struggling to focus on things on my own. So I would keep coming back to the AI. So I finally had to decide on something that I had to do it. I finally decided to forbid myself with a contract to myself to prevent myself from using it for 7 days so that I could break the addiction and see what it was really like before using AI. So I did that discipline contract, and when I did that, the first few days, especially the first couple and the third day too, were very immensely painful. I would try to do something on my own, whether it's researching something, whether it's writing something, whether it's writing code. I would feel I would feel very distracted. My mind would race into many different topics at the same time. Like I at one point realized that I was thinking about four things at the same time, because that's also how AI works, that you let one AI work and you think about something else, you send that message to another AI, you look at something else, and that divides your mind into thinking many different stuff at the same time. So my mind was racing between many topics. For example, when programming, I was trying to think about a function that I needed to write, but then my mind would get into some thoughts about a game that I played or something from life. Also, while all these are happening, a song would play in the background of my mind, and it was a horrible, distracted, horribly struggling to focus state that I would feel immense pain from. But I kept pushing myself because I knew that that state wasn't right, and I had to push through. And I had to push through to get to the point that I was before, and that point is being able to deeply focus on something and think myself. So after a few days, things started to get better, and especially towards the end of that week, I got a lot better, and I could finally write code or do the other things like writing or researching myself. And after that 7 days ended, I still didn't go back to abusing AI usage every day for everything. I only used it for a few simple things like checking grammar in my writings or asking very basic questions. But I still, even researching, I tried to use normal search engines instead of AI, and I even kept avoiding that AI summary box at the top of the AI search engine, normal search engines, AI summary parts. I kept avoiding them too. And I got really better after about 20 days to a month. And it's been like a month now since I've started, and I'm really realizing how things were terribly bad when I was using AI. So I already explained to you how this training breaks our brains and makes it into having to constantly think of sending a message again and again instead of focusing on things on our own. So this is also like slot machines. So in these gambling slot machines, how they work is that they present you a very luxurious looking, very uh, delicious looking interface, a box with three slots that if you pull the lever and your chances are right, you will get some reward or even the jackpot. And it is very easy to pull the lever, and when you get that excitement of feeling that you may earn money, that excitement clouds your judgment. That excitement makes you think that you will likely earn something rather than you have a small chance of winning. There's been some studies done with AI using developers that they thought that they were being a lot more productive when they were using AI, and when those studies were done and the results came back, they realized that the benefits were either negligible or actually sometimes even negative. Like, not even benefits, but just actually slowing it down. How these things work is basically guessing the next array of strings, the array of the words that come after an array of words. So what I mean for non-programmers is that you have a piece of text, like a paragraph or a question. It consists of some words, and all these words, because of their placements, they have meaningful relations with each other. So when we as humans read them, we can interpret the meaning of these words and understand logically what's that text about. With AI, they don't have a logical, a system that understands something, but they have this different way of doing things, which is they calculate the probabilistic, statistical probability of one word coming after another, or few words coming after another few. So with this statistical data, they guess, they predict what the continuation of that text is going to be. And using that, when their data is accurate enough, they can guess what the continuation of those words is going to be like. So basically how these things that are called AI, LLMs, large language models, work is this. It's not actually intelligent. It is just like rolling dice, but at a much, much bigger level with so many dice. They're not able to think as us humans are able to. Because of the nature of how they work is that they can only give you the responses based on existing data. They can't ever come up with something creative, something new, like a human brain does. They don't have a mind to understand different topics. They don't have a mind to solve problems, but they instead just process data given to them in the architecture defined by the AI developers so that they can process the next guess more properly. So we all have seen the stupid responses they give to very simple questions, like when you ask how many R letters in strawberry word, it, for example, gives you the response that it says only one, and you tell that it's wrong. It apologizes, then says it's actually two, but it's actually three. And when this sort of issues, these sort of inaccuracies happen in the AI developers fix them with either adding relevant data that the AI is missing, or changing the architecture enough that it is now able to calculate how many letters in a word. So this isn't thinking. This is still useful. I won't deny that they're useful for what they're capable of, but they don't do the same thing as we humans do. And the real thinking that we humans do is something very unique. That's something very beautiful that we couldn't have replicate with technology yet. So we can replicate mathematical calculations. We can replicate a lot of things, but we can't still replicate real thinking. And that is very integral for us humans, to be humans, be intelligent, and be able to foresee, towards the future and what we need to do, and understand things in life, understand things about science or anything in life, strategy, like every scientific discovery, every engineering success was made by people understanding things deeply and thinking about them for very, very long periods of time. Think about Nikola Tesla, think about Archimedes, think about Newton, think about Einstein. Could an AI do what Einstein did? Do you think that is really possible? It is not. And you have to babysit an AI every time that you try to do something with it because it is just guessing something. It is guessing what to do next. It is sometimes right, is guessing sometimes right and sometimes wrong. And sometimes wrong guessing is very destructive for actually keeping a straight line until you reach to a point. Because if you think about this, if you are driving a car and if you'd sometimes did the wrong actions, that you'd take the wrong turn, you'd like brake at the wrong time, you'd end up in a much different destination that you intended before. And also, if you could even reach that destination, you'd also be very late to reaching that destination too. So real thinking is extremely integral. Like, real thinking, I can't even believe that we're discussing this anymore, that AI can replace even human thinking. Like, you don't have to think about things on your own or research things on your own or hire someone that knows about things. No, you just pay for more tokens for these AI companies and buy intelligence. I mean, I think it's the stupidest idea ever. I think it is the dumbest idea of 21st century, that we can somehow buy intelligence from machines. I mean, you can buy intelligence by hiring people, but not this way. So if we hurt our minds, for thinking, if we hurt our thinking, if we hurt our ability to understand things, think deeply, focus, we're hurting all these things that made us able to make these advancements in our civilization, science, technology, all of that. We're losing all of that. And I feel like as we get more addicted to using these things, we are getting more and more towards those AI memes that every time when you try to even interact with someone in a daily chat manner, you ask a question to this ChatGPT. Hey ChatGPT, he said this to me. What should I do? I think we're getting more closer to that idiot state. It's my experience that I felt more and more like an idiot. I felt like I wasn't able to control my mind into one certain direction and think about only one topic instead of bouncing from one thing to another constantly, rapidly jumping from something to another. I want to close this video with saying that with every technology we made great breakthroughs that provided us with huge benefits. Like, even one of the first ever technologies humans ever found, like fire. Fire was such a huge useful thing for us to cook foods and drive nutrition from foods in a much easy and much more efficient way. Also, it made us able to warm up, dry our clothings, all of that. But also, fire is a very dangerous thing that can burn down forests, can burn down cities, can burn down anything in its way. So Also, like, think about nuclear energy. With nuclear energy, we have a huge way, huge new technology of making clean energy. I mean, clean in a way that is not destroying the atmosphere. But it is also a very dangerous thing that can poison us with radiation, or we can make nuclear explosions with them and annihilate ourselves. Also, with cars can get you from one place to another very quickly, but you can also lose control and crash with them and die. Basically, any technology we've found had their own pitfalls, their own dangers coming with them. And who are we to assume that this new technology is going to be all fun and only beneficial? If we ever think like everything is going to be super great, if we be super optimistic with every new technology, we're going to be idiots that burn themselves first, get poisoned by radiation first, crash with the car first. But if we try to understand what that technology is and how it embeds into our life and how these dangers, what dangers could come from them, and if we try to take precautions to prevent us from getting harmed by those dangers, we'll be successful, we'll not be idiots that fall into those pitfalls.